Cops discovered evil husband's house of horrors. I'm expecting to see like dead bodies and stuff. Like not see it, but like I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be low key like disturbing. This footage has never been released to the public.
911, what's your emergency?
Hey, I'm a bus driver and one of my students just passed me a note that says his mother needs help and that his dad is hurting her.
Okay, do you have an address?
Yeah, they live on...
Is he doing this on the bus? I'd hope not.
When you turn into the neighborhood.
Okay, officers are being dispatched now. Can you stay with the child until law enforcement arrives?
Yeah, so I'm just parked outside the neighborhood. I'll stay here.
Please tell me he's not outside the
The
house.
Las Cruces Police Department were informed of on April 23rd, 2021. Just the night before, Veronica had endured 12 hours of what could only be described as a living hell. All
Hours?
because of her abusive boyfriend, Eric Alvarado. At this point, fearing for her and her children's life, the main thing
12 hours, that is insane, bro.
on her mind was to call the police. But Eric had confiscated her phone and refused to let her leave his sight. However, Eric and Veronica's son still had to go to school. This gave Veronica an idea that would save her and her family's life.
Smart. That's smart. That's sad, bro. I feel bad for any kids and parents in this situation.
Can you explain to me what's going on today?
Last night he was taking me a lot
He was shaking you?
and stuff with the pillows.
Okay.
He picked me up. He got my head against the cabinet, and then he's sleeping on top of here.
No, he's tweaking.
And then my kids were screaming and crying, and he said that he was either I die or he's gonna have a shot with you guys.
Veronica is clearly distressed and just
Nah, he's
thankful that the
tweaking.
cops are here to save her.
You know what's so crazy? I doubt people obviously people don't show that side of them before they get into a relationship. So it's low-key nerve-wracking because, like, you see they got kids and all this other stuff. I doubt she'd stay with him that long if he was tripping out. So he must have not been showing them signs to her early on in the relationship.
Fear of her life, she wrote a note behind Eric's back saying that she was in danger and to call 911. She passed this note to her kids in hopes someone from their school would call the police. The note was given to a bus driver who immediately called the Las Cruces Police Department. The cops need to know exactly what happened. Veronica just told them that Eric would have a shootout with the cops if they came, so they know they're dealing with someone either dangerous or delusional, something they would quickly find out.
Were you trying to get away from him, or what happened?
He's finna
I
crash
just
out.
started doing whatever he asked me. He would even tell me to follow him to the bathroom when he needed the bathroom. He would make me pick up the seat for him. He said
He's a
he didn't let
weirdo.
me do it, and then I was just like, what neither? And then but I was crying for my mom. He's like, you really think I would do that?
He didn't try to get out, and he didn't forcefully try to keep you
I
from
was like,
leaving or anything like that?
I've tried before, and it never works. So I just stayed quietly, and I stayed up on the bed. I rolled like to try to get away, and he would just pull me closer and hug me.
Okay.
But I didn't have a phone to call you guys, so I just
What happened to your phone?
he has it. But he always takes it because he knows that I'm gonna call the cops.
Okay, so the marks on your face, is that from him, or? And not from him?
Dang.
And then
Nah,
Listen
my heart
to
goes out to
exactly
her,
what Veronica
honestly.
is saying. It's obvious
so
that
messed
this
up.
isn't just a one-time thing. She's using phrases like, I've tried before and it never works, implying that she'd almost given up trying to escape him. This is known as learned helplessness, a condition where an abused person starts to believe that they're powerless to save themselves because of the repeated abuse and perceived lack of control. Unfortunately, it's more common than you might think. On average, it takes 7 tries for a victim to escape their
7.
abuser, and every single one of these failed attempts would start to make them feel more and more powerless, as though control of their life is slowly slipping away. Given that Veronica has a 5-year-old son with Eric, the abuse might have been going on for years, with her essentially resigning her fate to his violence and manipulation. If that's the case, then her son's actions should be even more celebrated, finally freeing his own mother from a relentless cycle of abuse.
Can you explain to me what
Shout out to the
happened
bus
first
driver who actually helped
yesterday?
them.
we were arguing. He was just more frustrated because he was yelling at the kids, and then he started to get upset with me. He got upset because I didn't cook, grabbed himself something to eat, and he told me to fuck up, bitch, and give it to him, but it's because I had the baby in the bed and laid it down. She was getting upset every time I walked out.
Okay.
And then so I came in here all mad talking shit, and
Okay.
I was right there by the microwave, and I slammed it to close it because he had his food in there. I was gonna heat it up, and he told me to shut up, and then he got up and pulled me from my hair and pushed my head toward the cabinet in my head, like when like that, and it's like
That's like
when I
abusive is abusive, but bro, that's some MMA cartoon fight. Like he's literally throwing I don't even know what that's just straight assault battery like to the 5th degrees. Like he's wilding like.
my eyebrow hit right here.
Veronica continued to tell the officer about that night's abuse, how he choked her, threw her around, and grabbed hold of her so
12
hard
hours.
that she couldn't force his hand away to save herself.
Yeah, I was holding onto his arm, but he lifted me up because he's so strong. He lifted me up and he slammed me on the counter. My kids were crying at the same time. My oldest son came out.
What did you feel when he grabbed your neck?
I don't know, like I was like trying to fight to get it off, and then all of a sudden, like my body just started feeling weak.
Feeling weak?
Yeah, and I felt like I was underwater and I couldn't breathe. And I was just like trying to calm him down, like, oh baby, I love you, please stop, this is not. But I was just like, because I already know how he is.
Directly after being choked almost to death, she's still pleading with him and telling him that she loves him. Obviously, it can't be discounted that this was just an act to get him to stop. But again, this is a very common reaction. Eric has likely used either love bombing or intermittent reinforcement to manipulate Veronica. Love bombing involves initially showering the victim with affection and attention, forming attachment quickly, and intermittent reinforcement involves quickly
See, I think this
alternating
goes back to what I was saying in the beginning about how he's not showing true colors at first.
between kindness and cruelty. Both of these create a powerful emotional bond and dependency on the abuser, making it much harder to leave, despite making her feel like this.
Talking about, are you scared to die? And I'm like, yes. He's like, how does it feel? Because you almost died. And I was just like,
Okay.
if it just hurts and painful, he's like, why are you scared to die? Like, and then I said, because my kids.
But the last little piece of information the cops get might just be the most important one, and unravel why tonight's abuse got so out of hand.
Is he drunk or something?
From PTSD.
Okay.
Oh, yes, PTSD.
And he has
That's still no excuse, though.
Bipolar depression and
Yes, it takes so much help. He has anxiety, bipolar.
yeah. So the only thing that set him off was the whole him not having food ready and all that.
No, it was the kids who was yelling at my son.
Okay.
And that if anything gets him upset, he gets really, really upset.
Apparently, Eric suffers from PTSD, depression, anxiety, and bipolar. He's supposed to take a litany of meds to keep him stable, but that night, he
That don't even
hadn't
sound
taken
healthy.
any of them. Of course, this isn't an excuse for his behavior, nor
course
is
not.
it to be assumed that many bipolar people would ever act in this manner, but it could be a possible explanation for the severe and continued abuse.
How long have you been with him?
On and off for 7 years. There's a time when he sent me to the hospital, but I didn't press charge.
So you never.
I felt bad because he always calls me. He's just like, I'm sorry. This is bad.
So
I'm a sick man.
has he ever been charged with domestic or anything like that? He has? In Las Cruces or New Mexico?
With his ex-girlfriend.
Okay, but not with you.
It's good, Emma.
A lot of times I drop the charges because I feel bad.
Eric is clearly dangerous and needs to be locked
You gotta
up.
be careful. She gotta be careful though. I'm not saying her particularly. I don't want to single her out, but if you don't get him locked up and he breaks up with you, he's just gonna go do it to somebody else, and that person's gonna have to now tolerate it. So instead of like letting him get off because you feel bad, you might not feel good about it, but you're just gonna give that pain to somebody else in the long run if you don't handle it
But
now.
that all depends on if Veronica is going to press charges this time or let herself be manipulated out of it again. But before she can even make that decision, the other cop comes
Why
into the
call the
room
cops in the first place if you're not gonna press charges? He's clearly not gonna stop doing it.
and lets them know that they need EMTs on the scene immediately.
When you were standing up and then you started.
Oh.
I don't know if he was making him do himself. Is that normal for
Does
him?
he have, So panic attacks are normal for him.
It should play Road 96. What's
She
that?
says he has knives in the drawer, so.
It seems as though Eric has had a panic attack and needs help from a medic. The thing is, the cops can't be sure if this is a genuine reaction or another way to try and guilt and manipulate Veronica, but either way, they get the fire department on the scene to check him out.
Does he need to go to the hospital, boys?
He's wanting to go.
Oh, he's wanting to go? What do you think?
We're trying to just take a blood pressure. That's about it. His oxygen's good right now. It's at 98%. Heart rate's fine. A little elevated at 98, but it's nothing crazy.
Do you take your medications for PTSD and the depression?
No, what?
Do you take medications for it?
Yes.
Are you current on your medications? So we always recommend heading up to the hospital, especially because he has like PTSD, bipolar depression.
Medically, everything seems fine with Eric, but they still decide to take him to the hospital temporarily at his request.
He
In the
looks
meantime,
out of
Veronica
it.
is now curious about the rest of the process and has made a
them
decision
kids
on
away
if
from
she's
the-
going
from-
to press charges.
He always bonds himself out.
Okay.
And he told me that.
He got motion like that?
I'm starting to remember a little bit. It's like, I didn't think I'm gonna be that long in fucking jail. I get bonded up real fucking quick.
So I know you said you want a restraining order. So we'll work on getting that. Usually it's going to be an emergency restraining order.
Would I be able to press charges on him?
So in situations like this, it's up to the state to pursue charges. So usually we go through with
Huh?
no matter if we have charges, we're gonna go through with the charges whether you want to or not.
I should have pressed charges when I couldn't even open my eyes.
Emergency restraining orders are common in cases of domestic violence, especially where
So
there's
she can
children
get attacked, and it's up to the state if they want to press charge. How does that make sense?
involved. Courts are often available 24/7 for the filing of these, and in open and shut cases like these, they'll usually get approved on the same day. That means that Eric physically won't be allowed near Veronica, her kids, and likely their home unless he goes through a rigorous legal procedure. But it turns out that might not even matter, as it looks like he's heading straight to jail.
It is gonna be a 48-4.
Did you know that gamers and tech enthusiasts like you and I have turned their passion into an IT career? JobWorks Education and Training has helped hundreds of students.
He's gonna be cleared already.
As long as he's clear, he should be fine then. Basically gonna bring me the ERO.
So, hey, can I get a district court judge for the ERO?
Cool.
From this point, the officer fills out the restraining order and takes care of some other paperwork and investigation around the house. But the day isn't over for Eric yet. Far from it. He was taken to the hospital, but as the officer figured, he was discharged almost as soon as he got there. That meant that it was his turn in the spotlight, and he was handed over to the police, who were going to make sure that he got exactly what he deserved.
What do they mean by discharge? I don't know that term like that. I know it's a couple of meanings for it.
Turn around for him, bro. There you go.
Oh, I got a piss, bro.
Alright, bud. Well, before we take you in, alright, you're gonna be placed under arrest, okay? CID is the one that are gonna take you the charges. Unfortunately, I don't know them. But you are gonna be served a
Emergency restraining order. I would suggest not contacting her, writing her, going to the house, none of that.
As the officer mentioned, the case was handed over to CID, or the Criminal Investigation Division. In even simpler terms, the detectives. Usually a case is passed over the CID if the crimes were particularly severe, or if it requires the specific resources or skills the CID have. In this case, it's very likely the chronic abuse and psychological manipulation that warranted their intervention. As to truly unpack what happened here, it would require an expert to dig deep and use their skills to figure everything out. That's why less than an hour after he was released from the hospital, he was sat face to face with a detective that was about to grill him for his side of the story. Unfortunately, Eric didn't exactly make that easy, and it ended with him back in handcuffs and on his way to a cell.
Bro, people be snitching on themselves in these on these like what's this called? These interrogation rooms so much nowadays, like it's ridiculous.
What happened last night? Okay, so you're here for a reason, and I'm here with you for a reason, and that's to get your side story. If you're gonna tell me nothing, I'm gonna go ahead and leave and proceed my investigation. So right now, this is your chance to
What am I being charged with?
I'm not there yet, but I'm in an investigation.
Yeah, he's
I'm
finna grill him.
investigating
I
you.
could tell he's on that.
I don't feel good, man.
Okay.
I want to go.
All right. I'm gonna take you back to the holding cell, okay? So the last thing that I need to do was get your side of the story. Since you're not gonna give that to me, I'm gonna go ahead and charge you with 3 counts of
Dang,
Aggravated
the
battery
detective's
on a
good.
household member. 2 of them will be strangulation, the other one's gonna be suffocation, or 2 of them will be suffocation,
I don't look
one's
the
gonna be
game up.
strangulation. Battery on a household member, and also deprivation of property to a household member. 3 of the 5 are gonna be felonies. Okay?
What? Why are they felonies? What did I do that?
3 felonies.
Why?
Do you wanna talk to me about it?
But like, what did I do? What did you say?
I don't
What
know,
did
you were
say?
there.
I didn't.
You were there
I didn't do
last
nothing. I didn't do nothing, bro.
Okay.
I did nothing
Then
for
stay
her.
with that. Stay with that story.
I
Three
wanna know
felonies.
what
I'm not gonna tell you anything, because you don't wanna tell me anything.
As it turned out, Eric would only be charged with 2 counts of aggravated battery of a household member, 1 count of battery against a household member, and deprivation of property. And with Eric
those
safely in
felonies?
cuffs and in a holding cell, the police had only one more job to do to put Veronica's mind at ease.
Hello?
May I speak to Veronica, please?
This is her. Yes?
Okay, just real quick, I wanted to let you know that I'm gonna go ahead and charge Eric. He's gonna have 3 felonies,
Oh, he
which
did
is
get
gonna
the
be
okay.
aggravated battery on a household member. 2 of them are strangulation. One's gonna be strangulation. The other one's gonna be battery on a household member, and the other one's deprivation of property of a household member. So another thing, I'm asking the officer to call a Sky report to CYFD. Because of what he exposed the children to. They'll probably just reach out to you, ask to see the conditions of the house, make sure that they're suitable for the children.
I know because of what happened, but then at the same time, I don't know how to say this. I accept what you're doing, but there won't be any way he can see his kids.
There will be, but it's got to be in different terms now. The way you guys had it, it obviously didn't work because look what he's exposing the children to.
As of July 2024, Eric Alvarado is still awaiting sentencing and is being held without bond. However, based on his charges and history, it's estimated he'll likely spend up to 8 years behind bars. With intervention and checks by CPS, the
How do they
children...
be dictating the? I will never understand how they dictate who gets this many amount of years. Because for what he was putting that woman through 8 years, I mean that still seems pretty reasonable. I'm not gonna lie, but like, there's people who will have like drugs on them, and then they'll get like 50 years. I know the judge. I'm just saying like the crime. Like what makes this crime worse than that crime? Like battery's battery. If I stick someone in the street and I get 10 years for it because he got knocked out on the pavement, what's the difference from him beating on her and only getting 8? Like, you know what I mean?
Will also receive treatment and care for any trauma or abuse caused by their father, and Veronica will finally be free of the horrific treatment caused by her evil husband. And remember, none of this would have happened if not for what Veronica's 5-year-old son did that morning, being brave and strong enough to reach out to save his mom, changing his whole family's lives in one heartwarming and heroic move.
Bro, that kid's a hero, bro.